everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is my granny era. Today I am just giving kind of a chat, a catch up, my weekly wrap up, which is actually more like my last 10 days. Just kind of catching up with you guys because I have been so busy with life things and I don't think I've made a video in, I don't know, it's been almost a couple of weeks. So we have had a lot going on this last week or so. We have had a wedding and a baby shower. My oldest son's new baby is due any day now. He and his wife are having their third baby and it's a little girl. So it will be our first granddaughter. We have two grandsons that are about 2.5 and 15 months. So this will be a new little granddaughter due any day now. She's due May 8th. So this is the 28th of April. So yeah. So we had a baby shower for her yesterday and it was really sweet. It was really nice because my mom was here. She had originally come because my second oldest son was married on Thursday, the 24th. And so my mom came out for that, and then we decided to schedule the baby shower for the following Sunday while mom was here so she could do both. So we had the wedding on Thursday, which was beautiful. I'll put some pictures here for you guys to look at. My daughter-in-law is just absolutely gorgeous. My son was gorgeous. This photo here, the first three guys in this one are my three sons. So the first one in the photo is my second son who got married. Behind him is my oldest son, and then behind him is my third oldest son. And then we have one more son who wasn't in the wedding party. And it was just a beautiful day. It was just special and fun and like one of those things that's just beautiful in its simplicity and a very peaceful time. So that was a fun celebration. But we've been, so then, you know, we did the baby shower Sunday and that was a wonderful special celebration too. So we're all ready for baby to come. But this last week, my mom has actually been here for a week. And so we have done all kinds of different things here in Northwest Arkansas. I'm actually going to put some footage here at the end to show just some of the things that we did this week. I'll probably do that over the course of the next few videos that I make, just to kind of give you a look at what it looks like here in Northwest Arkansas and some of the fun things to do. So, but I will add a little bit on the end of this one to show you something. I don't know what yet. But it's been a very full week and mom went home this afternoon. She actually came out with a friend, so a lifetime friend of the family. My mom and her have been friends since like second grade or something, and so she came out with mom and we got to spend the whole week just doing some fun stuff. So anyway, glad for that. They left this afternoon and I came home. I finished the last few pages of my book and I promptly fell asleep and slept for a couple of hours. So I'm feeling pretty good now, but boy, it has been so busy and I'm just taking the rest of this week off the best that I can. I think the only thing I really have to do is run kids around to their various jobs and activities. But other than that, I'm just going to read and chill out. On Sunday, this is gonna be fun. I will definitely vlog this. We're going, me and three of my daughters are going to the Renaissance Fair in Muskogee, Oklahoma. We're gonna do that on Sunday. So I am not planning on dressing up or really participating in anything. All I wanna do is bring my book and find a cold drink and just kind of sit in the grass. And I told you guys, I've been in this whole medieval, mood. So I'm just going to sit there and have this little medieval side quest and read something atmospheric and enjoy being there outside and with all of the atmosphere around me. It's going to be really cool. So you guys can look forward to that vlog coming up. Through all of this, I have been reading just very slowly, kind of slow and steady. I have been keeping up on my reading. I have read 4 books since I last checked in with you guys. And they're all things that I should have read like in a day, right? But they all took me like days just because, just a little bit at a time and my mind's have been other places. But I want to share with you guys what I have been reading. So I finished Come Tell Me How You Live by Agatha Christie Mallowan. So I can't remember how much I said about this in my last video, so forgive me if I repeat, but this is basically a biographical story. Autobiographical story. She wrote about some time that her husband and her and a crew of archaeologists spent in the Middle East. And her second husband was a archaeologist, and he just spoiled her rotten. But he took her with him on a lot of his digs and gave her a place to write and just kind of, have her little setup. And I just really loved reading about all of the different differences that she was aware of and the funny stories that she had just interacting with the Middle Eastern people. They employed a lot of the local people to help them with various things, and I really appreciated the patience and compassion that they showed to these people that were very different from them, a very different culture, a different way of doing things. They were very generous with them and didn't seem to lord it over them, like the stigmas and impressions that we get over, British colonialism and all that kind of stuff. It didn't really seem to go that direction with them, but then again, I guess it is her telling the story, right? But just her tone, it just seems that they showed a lot of character, just a lot of integrity, even though their society would have tolerated much harsher behavior towards Middle Easterners. They honest days pay for honest days work, sort of a thing, and being a little more tolerant when it was just a miscommunication, a language barrier, or just allowing, the local people to kind of do things their way, even though it wasn't, their way, Agatha's way and her husband. There was just several instances where you see that, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing that they, did not come in there and try to be all elite and overbearing and all that stuff, right? Ooh, it's thundering out here. I hope it doesn't start raining on me. I will move to the porch. I'm going to make a bunch of videos. I'm planning to make quite a few videos tonight, so may have to move out to my covered porch here fairly soon, but we'll see how far I get. But yeah, it's definitely starting to storm, and I love this kind of weather. And I am really glad that it waited until my mom flew out before Albus came, because I didn't want her to obviously have to fly in it, right? But everything from like rantings about plus size clothing options to like a whole lot of talk about toilet seats and bathroom habits. Agatha Christie is just super funny. And so I did enjoy this little autobiography. And at the first of it, she has a really special poem that she writes to her husband that is funny and sweet. And I love the whole thing. So I'm really glad I read that. After that, I read this really creepy Agatha Christie story called And Then There Were None. Now, this is the first Agatha Christie book I've read that I haven't already watched on TV or seen a movie version of, so I was not familiar with the story. Originally, it was titled 10 Little Indians, and then I think when they published it here in the US, originally it was titled something even harsher than that. But I think when it came to the US, they had to change the name up. So anyway, now it's called And Then There Were None. So basically there are 10 potential victims in this story. And it is very cleverly done. I do have to say it took me a while to get going with it. I was kind of bored at the beginning, and I think it's because there were so many characters just all at the, right at the front. You got at least 10 characters, right? And the funny thing is all of her stories that I've read have multiple characters, like lots of characters to keep track of, but I've seen them on TV so many times, right, that it wasn't a big deal. But this one, yeah, it was a little hard. It took me a little bit. I can't fully say that I fully, like I couldn't sit here and tell you the, professions, let alone the names of even 2 or 3 of the characters. So I don't really remember, but just the general story, it was a really good story. It did surprise me at the end. So the way it kind of ends is, this isn't a spoiler, but you get all the information, right? You get the whole story. And then the last chapter or 2 is the confession of the murderer. Before the confession of the murderer, you get the whole story, how it all happened, or at least you think you do. And you could stop there and just never find out who did it. And I don't know, for some reason, just for a fleeting second, I was kind of like, I wonder if I should just stop the story now and just always wonder who did it. How did this happen? Because it seems like an impossible explanation, right? When you get to the end, you're like, when you get, almost to the end, to that point I'm talking about, it seems like there's just no explanation. Like, I don't know. It's just, how could that happen? But then, so I kind of felt for a second like I just wanted to be left in suspense, which is weird. But then I went ahead and read it, and I was like, that was pretty smart. That was genius right there. But super creepy too. All right, and then after that, I started Pride and Prescience. I can't remember how I pronounced it last time when I said that I've never said that word before. But anyway, that by Carrie Bebris. I started this, and I've read this before, and I caught like over 100 pages into it, and finally I'm like, this is so boring, like nothing is happening. So it's a very slow moving mystery. And basically what happens is there's little things that are happening to the victim throughout the story. And so you don't realize for a long time that what's going on is the story. Like, you think that it's building up to some big thing that's going to happen, but actually it's just a whole bunch of little things that happen, then you're done. So I don't know. I got, like I said, quite a ways into it, and I was just really bored with it. I wanted to move on, and so I decided to DNF. Well, then I went back and found my old notes. I read it probably like, I don't know, 2011, 2013, somewhere in that time period. And I wrote in my notes, this is really boring. And I wrote something about being glad I read it, but I probably won't read it again, that kind of thing. So yeah, I feel that way still. And then I looked at my notes for the second in the series, and same thing. So they're not bad. As you can probably tell, they're Jane Austen, Lizzie and Darcy mystery. Lizzie and Darcy are the detectives, but I have read much more engaging ones since, and I'll probably stick with those. So I DNF'd this one. And then the last book I read that has taken me forever to finish, but I really enjoyed. Well, I don't know if I really enjoyed. I'm glad I read it. I was really wanting to read The House on the Strand by Daphne du Maurier. I read this last in probably 2013-ish. And I felt like I wanted to reread it. And I didn't love it, but I am glad I read it. And it really I didn't get like any new information or whatever. So this story, it's fun, okay? It is a fun story for sure, even though it's also kind of depressing. But this guy, he and a friend are kind of, well, the friend is kind of the scientist, and he's sort of the guinea pig. So this friend has developed some kind of a drug. And so it's like it makes the guy time travel, we'll just say. So this guy, Richard, he ends up trying out this drug, and he's living in Cornwall. He's living in the professor's house, the scientist's house. So the scientist, for some reason, I think he's in London doing whatever. And so he rents out his house in Cornwall to Richard. And while Richard is there in Cornwall, he is to be trying out this drug, potion, serum, mixture, whatever thing that the professor scientist made, and see what happens. And so he does, and he time travels to the 14th century. It's right before the Black Death, bubonic plague hits, like decades before, but within, 50-ish years. And so different things are happening, and he basically is kind of immersed in this time, but only for a short time. He comes back out of it, okay? So throughout the story, he keeps taking this stuff and going back, and he's just following this story of a few of the families that he can then come back to the present day and actually find historical record of, right? So he knows he's not just completely imagining things, because he goes to the archives after being introduced to these, characters from the 14th century, and finds that yes, they really did live there, and those names are real, and they're real people on record, right? So it's not just in his mind, but he but he is definitely an observer. Like, they don't know he's there. So he'll just have these short trips back and forth, right? So that's all I'm going to tell you. It's definitely like a classic psychological, Daphne du Maurier type thing. It's very different from Rebecca in the sense that Rebecca is like a 1930s Gothic, and this is a late 1960s, I think it's like 1969 sci-fi, right? There's a lot more just obvious psychology in this one, where Rebecca was a little bit more just sort of creepy mind game, and the psychology of things was a little more subdued, and you kind of had to pick it out. In this one, it's just right there, and they talk a lot about the psychology of things, and so it's different in that way, but it still has her, like, just her creep factor, right? Where it's like ordinary life just made weird by subtle little twists, right? Like in The Birds or the Rebecca, it's like normal things just twisted a tad, just enough to be like, there's something a little funky here, right? And then especially like, with Rebecca at the end, you get the, oh, that's why I was feeling weird about all of this, right? Because there's actually something, criminal. And the same thing in this story. When you get to the end, you're kind of like, like the more this story approaches the end, the more it's very overtly just creepy and weird. All right, I packed up my laptop real quick because the rain is starting. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I did get this one finished before the rain started, so yay. I'll head to the back porch and talk to you soon, guys. So it is wedding week, baby shower week, all the stuff week. It's a very busy week. My mom is out here from Oregon with one of her friends. And today we are just kind of messing around Northwest Arkansas and showing them some cool stuff. So we are out at the Pea Ridge National Military Park outside of Pea Ridge, Arkansas. It's on the Missouri-Arkansas border in the northwest corner. So very close to where I live. And so we've been touring this park today and showing them the site of the battle that decided Missouri for the North. So Missouri was divided at the time, and some of them came down here to fight with the Confederates, and some of them stayed there, whatever, on the Union side. But the Battle of Pea Ridge was the one that decided what direction Missouri was going to turn, and of course they did turn completely to the side of the Union. So where I'm at now is called Elkhorn Tavern. This was a home that they used as a hospital and, just a base, whatever. And so sometimes you can go in there, and usually during the summertime, they'll have a guide that will take you inside and show you everything and talk about it. But today it's closed up because we're still in, early days of not yet to the tourist season. It has to get extremely sweltering hot here before tourist season can start. But anyway, I thought I'd take you guys along and show you this cool place that our family loves to come out and visit every few years.
to be called rebels. They're from Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Missouri, and the Indian Territory. Individually, their reasons for volunteering to fight are many and varied. Defense of home and hearth is a primary motivation. Many are willing to stake their lives on the belief that a state has the right to leave the Union if it disagrees with the national debate.
Trail of Tears with my daughter, my granddaughter, and my great-grandson, and my other granddaughter, and my very best friend, and all my grandkids and my great-grandkids.
This is a very important moment for Mother.
For you today, it's a trail of happiness.
Right?
It is. It's tears of joy.
I like the trail of ticks, just gotta say. But, you know, I don't want to damper the mood. I know, way to ruin the mood, huh?
Fine, if we all what's the disease?
Lyme disease, alpha-gal, 50,000 other horrible things.
We got all matched with all.
I might leave that out of the video.
Look at Grammy.
Emerson.
Look at Grammy.